Hey guys, my name is Francisco Hernandez, and today I want to talk about the manual XPLOR 600, which is also known as the Godox AD600BM. Pretty much show you guys the basics of how to use this light with the transmitter, talk about some of the questions that you guys have asked me about this light, the frequently asked questions about this light, and answer them as well. Talk about my experience using this light for more than 2.5 years now, and also show you guys some of the images that I created with this light, and maybe some behind the scenes footage as well. I wanted to make this video specifically because the light's actually on sale, and it's a very good sale. So when I posted this deal on my Facebook lighting group, on my Instagram, and on my Facebook profile, a lot of you guys expressed interest in getting the light and asked me to make a video going over the basics and talking about this light. So that's what I'm doing today. If you guys are interested in this deal yourself and didn't know about it previously, the deal is the XPLOR 600 and the transmitter for $399. This is a very good deal, one that I've been posting everywhere, because this combo usually costs $600. So that's a savings of $200. There's also a couple of other sales going on right now, so in case you guys want to know about them, then definitely follow along in my Facebook lighting group called Learn to Light, an off-camera flash lighting community. The one deal that I've been posting the most with this XPLOR 600 deal is the Flashpoint CSEN that's usually sold at $129, but right now it's on sale for $99. But when you bundle that Flashpoint CSEN with the XPLOR 600, it becomes $79, which is a savings of $50 on that stand. There's also deals on modifiers, so if you guys don't have any modifiers for this XPLOR 600, you can definitely save some money right now on those modifier sales. So now that you guys know about those deals, let's start talking about the light itself. I am going to show you guys how to use the light with the transmitter in a second, but I want to talk about some of the features that this light offers first. So when this light came out 2.5 years ago, it offered so much, a lot of great features at such a great price, and even greater price right now that it's on sale. So when I got the light, I was really happy because I actually used a lot of different lights, including Alien Bees, this one strobe called the Metal 600 AD, the Adorama Rove Light 600B, and the Alien Bee lights. So I think I mentioned that before, but I used a lot of different lights before. And when this light came out, it offered a lot of things that I didn't have access to before. So I was really happy with it. And I still highly recommend this light to this day. That's why I'm making this video. So I highly recommend Godox overall, but specifically this XPLOR 600 offers a lot of great features that I'm going to talk about right now. So the first feature that I want to talk about is the fact that this light has 600 watts of power. And if you don't know anything about wattage or how strong that is, just know that that's a lot of good power to have. And specifically, if you're interested in knowing about overpowering the sun, you can definitely do so with 600 watts of power. If you're not interested in overpowering the sun at all, then having 600 watts of power is good for two other reasons: for recycle times and for battery life. The battery life on this light is rated to be around 500 full powered shots, but of course if you use the light at lower outputs other than full power, you're gonna get a lot more use out of these lights. For example, if you use the light at half power, that 500 full powered shots becomes 1,000 half powered shots. And of course if you use it at a lot lower outputs, you're gonna get a lot more use out of this light. And personally myself, I use this light maybe around 3 or 4 sessions, and it lasts a lot, and I never have to worry about the battery until I get maybe 5 sessions in. And when it comes to recycle times, if you use this light at full power, it's around 2.5 seconds. But of course, if you use outputs like 1/32 or 1/16, for example, it becomes almost instantaneous. And speaking of the battery just a second ago, if you guys are interested in using this light in the studio endlessly and you don't want to have to worry about charging that battery over and over again, then you can buy the AC adapter option, which allows you to connect the light to the wall, and you can shoot with it endlessly for a full day or days if you wanted to, without having to worry about charging that battery. And if you intend to shoot with that light in the studio on a boom arm, or if you just want to give your assistant a break, you can actually buy an extension cable for this light, which allows you to separate the body of the light from the bulb of the light so that you can boom it easily without having all that weight on the boom arm. Or if you have an assistant holding the light, then you can have them hold the body of the light on them and just hold the bulb of the light with the modifier, which is going to be a lot less weight because the XPLOR 600 itself is around 6.5 pounds. When it comes to modifiers, this light uses a Bowens mount. So if you have Bowens mount modifiers that you use with other lights, you can use all of those Bowens mount modifiers with this strobe. And if you have any umbrellas that you want to use with the strobe, then it also has an umbrella mount that you can use those umbrella modifiers with this strobe. So you can either use umbrellas or use Bowens mount. And Bowens mount is actually a great thing because Bowens mount is pretty common. So when I first got this strobe and I had a couple of different Bowens mount modifiers, I was able to use those with this strobe. Another great feature about this light is that it's part of a great ecosystem of different lights. So what I mean by that is that I have a small speed light, I have a regular speed light, I have a medium-sized strobe, I have a large strobe, and I have this XPLOR 600, and I have a whole bunch of different lights that I can use all with that one transmitter that comes with this light. So if you have a lot of these different types of Godox/flashpoint lights, you can easily use them together with using that one transmitter. Another great feature about this light that's pretty unique is the fact that it can be used with a multitude of different camera systems, including Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, Pentax, and Olympus, as long as you have the transmitter for those systems. So let's say, for example, I had 4 different friends that shot with Canon, Nikon, Fuji, Olympus, and Pentax, while I shot Sony. If we all wanted to use that one light setup for some reason, then we can do so easily as long as all of us had transmitters for our own systems. So that's something that I think is really cool about this specific light and this ecosystem of lights. And if I'm wrong and other lights can do them as well, then I definitely don't think that they can do them at the same price. The transmitters for all these different camera systems are going to be $50 for the regular transmitter or $69 for the Pro version of this transmitter. The last feature I was going to talk about is the fact that this light offers high-speed sync. And if you guys don't know what that means, it just means that you can use any sync speed that you want to, and this is going to be very beneficial in case you want to use wide apertures outside on a sunny day. So usually without high-speed sync, the light that you use is going to be capped at a certain sync speed, and when you go beyond that sync speed, only a little bit or no light at all will show up in the photo. So you want to make sure that you're at that sync speed or lower in order for all the light to show up in that shot. So for example, if you have a Canon 6D, which is one that I used to have, the max sync speed on that is 180th of a second. And if you have a Canon 60D, which I also owned before, the max sync speed on that is 1/320th of a second. But depending on the camera that you have, it's going to be a different number. So if you're interested in knowing what the max sync speed of your camera is, definitely Google whatever camera that you have, max sync speed, and you should find the answer. So those were some of the main features that I thought were worth mentioning in this video, but if there's a couple of other features that I forgot to mention that are very important, then I'll definitely let you guys know in the description area below. And if you guys are curious about anything else, let me know in the comment section below so I can help you out. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to use the light with the transmitter. But one thing I wanted to mention before I do that is I actually have the TTL version of the XPLOR 600, but the only difference between the manual version and the TTL version is the TTL version has TTL. You can still use it in manual if you want to, but another difference is that the TTL version has a blue LCD screen while the manual version has a green LCD. So if you guys are wondering why I have a blue version while you guys might have a green screen, then that's why. Before I get started, I want to let you guys know about pretty much the only issue I have with this light, and that's the fact that it's the handle design, which is a bit of a pro and a con, and I'll explain why right now. The reason why it's a con is because if you tighten the light too hard, so this is it loosened, if you tighten it too hard, so this is where you want to be at, where just a little bit of pressure and just a little bit of a turn after that. If you tighten it too hard, like if I were to just really tighten it right now, it has the potential of getting stuck in that place and you won't be able to budge it from that place. It'll strip the angle or strip the handle. So I only experienced this with one of my 3 lights that I've had in the past couple of years, and I didn't even do it myself. My cousin tightened it really hard and it got stuck in its place. So you definitely do want to make sure that you don't tighten it too hard. Once you start to feel a little bit of pressure, like right here, just give a little bit of an extra turn, just a little bit, and you should be good. The second issue I have with the handle is that it's a little bit noisy, so I'm gonna go ahead and loosen it right now. It stays in its place, which is a good thing about the handle, that it actually stays in place at different levels. But you wanna, there's a little bit of noise, so you wanna make sure that if you need to work in somewhere quiet, that you adjust the handle first, get it in its place, and then tighten it. But the reason why it's a pro, this handle is a pro in my opinion, is because this handle right here, so it actually pops out so that you can adjust it. So you can adjust it and then set it in place. And the reason why I like this is because when I put this light away, I do tighten it. I tighten it, and then if I want it flush with the body, then I just kind of pop it out and just put it flush with the body so that it can rest nicely in the bag. Okay, so like I mentioned before, I'm not going to show you every single thing about this light, but I will show you the basics so that you can use the light, adjust it, and shoot portrait work or whatever you want to shoot. So if you want to know more about every feature of this light, I will leave a link in the description area to my friend Rob Hall's video on this light, as well as Tony and Chelsea Northrup's video on this light. Although they call it the Godox AD600BM, it is this light. So just quick clarification about their video though. They call it the Godox AD600BM when it's actually pronounced the Godox. So just want to make sure that you guys know how to pronounce it right. So the first thing I want to show you guys is the Bowens mount on the front, which is, you know, you can tell it's Bowens mount because it has these little 3 different prong design right here. And I also want to show you guys the bulb design. So it's a I think this is what's called a helix design. So this is a very nice even distribution of light. You can also see that there's the LED in there. That's that yellow circle that's in there. So that's the LED lamp. But I'll go ahead and show you guys how to turn on the light, which is very simple. All you got to do is hit that off on button, hold it for about 3 seconds, and then it turns on. If you want to turn it off, hold it for 3 more seconds. Let me just adjust the settings on the camera so that you guys can see the LCD a little bit better. Okay, so I have it on the settings that you really need to be in order to adjust it, but I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that everything's off. All right, so if I'm correct, this is what you guys should be seeing as soon as you turn on your transmitter. It should be not on the correct settings at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it on this so that you guys can follow along and I can show you how to get to the correct settings. The first thing that you need to do is get to the right radio mode. So in order to do that, you have to press this button that has a Z icon above it. Press that once, and then you should be in the correct radio mode. You'll know that you're in the correct mode when you see this little Wi-Fi symbol on the top left. And you can also see a couple of different things on the screen. You can see what mode you're in. You're in manual right here. You can see that this little speaker icon, that's going to mean that it's on beep mode, which means that every time you fire this light, it's going to make a beep when it recycles, when it recharges and ready for another shot. So you also have the battery indicator right there. You also have the power level, that's the one right there. You also have the group, and you also have the channel that you're on. And this is actually the flash duration. So if you guys are interested in having a very fast flash duration, then that's going to be where you can see exactly how fast it is. So I have it on group A, channel 11, because I pretty much use a one light setup all the time. So that's why it's on group A. You have the option of A, B, C, D, or E. So that's 5 different groups in case you have a 5 light setup. You can change all the lights to be on different groups, and you can change the power of them individually rather than all of them at the same power difference. So you have a different group right there, and I also have it on channel 11. But in case you guys want to know how to change the group and the channel, all you have to do is hit that GRCH button, hit it once, and you can change the group. So now it's on B, C, D, E, or if you want A, you can hit it again and it'll go back to A. If you want to change the channel, then all you have to do is hold that group channel button for about 2 or 3 seconds, wait for it to highlight, and then all you have to do is use this dial to change it to the group that you want. Let's say if you wanted group 5, and then, or actually group 7, lucky number 7. I'm gonna leave it to group 7, and all you have to do to set it to that is hit this set button, which is in the middle of the rotating dial. And then you're good, and that's it. If you guys didn't want that beep to happen every time that you fired the light, then what you can do is take it off by going into the menu, and it's the first setting there, it's the beep. Click on set, and then it'll highlight in this area here. Go to rotate this dial to get it to off. Click that button again, set button, and then click menu again to get back out, and then it'll be gone. The indicator is off, so every time you fire, it's not gonna make that beep. This mode button on the top is going to be what you need to change between manual to multi, and if you have TTL, then it's going to go to TTL, but of course if you have the manual version, then it should go to just manual. And of course I'm not going to go over the multi-mode, but you can check out those 2 videos in the description area below to learn more about that. There's also the high-speed sync button, which is that H button with the thunderbolt or whatever that is next to it. You click that and it should enable high-speed sync, and you click it again to disable it. But I'm honestly not sure why that button is there, because when it comes to this light, what I love about it is that when you need high-speed sync, when you go above that sync speed that your camera is limited to, it'll auto kick in high-speed sync. And when you don't need to be in high-speed sync, if you go to that area, that level of sync speed, which you're good at without high-speed sync, or lower than that, then it'll disable high-speed sync automatically. But if you actually, one quick thing that I want to mention about Nikon users is for some reason, in order to use high-speed sync, you need to enable what they call auto FP mode in the camera settings in order to use high-speed sync. As I mentioned before, you have a modeling lamp. Although it's not the brightest out there, it is still pretty good when you don't use a lot of diffusion. And the way that you turn on the modeling lamp is right next to that, right to the left of the off on button. It's that button right there. Click it once, it'll bring it to the first power level, twice to the second power level, and one more time to the third power level. So it's pretty bright when you use it bare, but when you start to add a lot of diffusion, it gets a little bit more dim. So you click it again to turn it off. And like I showed you guys before, this is the test button. So now I want to go ahead and show you guys the transmitter. So what I have right here is the Godox X1S transmitter. The S stands for Sony because I shoot Sony, but if you have Nikon or Canon, then that S will become an N or a C. This transmitter is the exact same one as the one that you're going to be getting if you get the deal with the XPLOR 600, but that's going to be called the R2 transmitter, but it's the exact same thing. Flashpoint and Godox are the exact same thing, but with different labeling. So you should be fine using this Godox transmitter with the Flashpoint XPLOR, or using the Flashpoint R2 transmitter, which is this one right here, but just by a different name, and using a Godox light. So what you can see about this transmitter on the top is that it has a hot shoe. So there's actually a different version of this transmitter. It's called the R2 Pro or the X Pro, and that one's actually a really nice transmitter, but I actually like this one as well. I like both, but the benefit of this one is that it has a hot shoe. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to record some BTS footage with a GoPro, you can mount it in this area right here, and you can record the BTS footage. Or if you wanted to just add a speed light on top, then you can do so with this little hot shoe right there. You also have a test fire button right there next to the label. So if you wanted to test fire the light, you can do so by just pressing that button right there. Of course, my transmitter that I have right here in my hand and this light are not on the same channel and group. So that's why when I press that test fire button, it's not doing anything just yet. On the left side of the transmitter, you have a sync port, a PC sync port, and you also have an area, a micro USB area, where you can do firmware updates for the transmitter. On the front of the transmitter, you have an autofocus assist beam, and I wanted to mention for Sony users, a lot of Sony users out there think that this doesn't work, but you actually need to be in a different shooting mode. So if you're shooting in autofocus continuous, the autofocus beam won't work, but if you're in autofocus single, it will work, specifically with this transmitter. I haven't tested it on the X Pro. On the right side of the transmitter, you have an area where you can turn off the autofocus assist beam, turn it on or turn it off, and you also could just turn on the transmitter or turn it off with this switch right here. So I'm gonna turn it on right now and show you guys the front of the transmitter. So for Sony users specifically, when you get this transmitter, the way that you adjust the power and make your adjustments is gonna be different than what I usually do. So I'm gonna show you guys how to change it exactly how I do. And I honestly think it's a better way to do it. You hold down this channel/OK button on the top, keep holding it till you enter the function area, and keep holding it till it backs out. So I like this mode because you can use this dial to rotate the groups. And I honestly think it's better just to change the power of the groups. It's a lot easier in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and rotate the A to be in the center with that arrow, aligned with that arrow. So that's gonna be what I'm gonna be adjusting right now. Before I make any adjustments, I need to make sure I'm on the right channel. Right now I'm on channel 12 though, and I need to be on 7. So in order to change the channel, what you can do is hit that channel button once real quick. It'll highlight, and then you can just scroll down to the right channel. I need to be on channel 7, but before I go to channel 7, I wanna show you guys that you can actually have up to 32 channels to choose from. So if you're in a crowded area and everybody's using this light, you can move the channel to make sure that you're on a free channel that nobody's using. So in order to select that channel, you have to click that CH button again, and it'll set it in place. So now that the channel and the group are both on the same thing as the light, as soon as you hit this test fire button on the top, it's gonna fire the light. But there's actually a bit of an issue that was already corrected in a firmware update, and that's if you have the same settings on the transmitter and the light. If you have the transmitter and the light too close to each other and you test fire it, it might not fire. So this was actually corrected in a firmware update where you have the option of selecting a close proximity mode. So if you need, for some reason, to use the transmitter and the light next to each other, like this close, then it'll work. Okay, so sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. But you can definitely fix that in the firmware update. So make sure that the transmitter and the light are both updated to the latest firmware. So if you guys were curious about how to change the power output, it's very simple. All you have to do is select the group that you want to adjust. I'm going to select A because that's what my light's on. You're going to hit the GR button once. It's going to highlight, and then you can either scroll up or down to make it go higher or lower. So scroll up to make it go higher, scroll down to make it go lower. And one quick thing that I want to mention about this light is when you first get it, it might have the lowest option of 128th. And if that's the case, then you need to go to the channel/OK button, hold it down to enter the function menu area. And then depending on the camera system that you have, it'll be a certain function number. For Sony transmitters, it's function number 5. And if you want to change it to 256, hit that GR button, and then it'll highlight, and then just scroll up, and it'll be 120 or 256th. Click GR, it's going to set that, and then click the channel button once again to exit out, and now you can go to the lowest of 256th. But of course, if you have the latest firmware, then it should be fine, and you should be able to go to 256 right when you get it. Alright, so that's pretty much how to use the XPLOR 600 with the transmitter. I did mention that I wasn't doing FAQ in this video, but I feel like it's already too long, so I'll go ahead and leave the FAQ in the comment or the description area below so you guys can check that out there. If you found this video helpful at all, let me know by giving the video a like, and if I didn't mention anything that you guys are wondering about, let me know with a comment in the comment section below. And if you guys do enjoy my content, feel free to subscribe. I know that I mentioned that I was going to show you guys some photos from me using this light, and I will show you in a quick second, but I did want to mention first that I do have a lot of videos on this channel where I use this light, and I show you guys the photos there, so you guys can also check those out as well, so you can really see what this light can do. Alright, take care guys, and I'll see you in the next video.